Hey guys, it's Ollie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be doing a corn snake care guide, joined by my corn snake Clementine. And of course, before I continue, I do just want to say that I am in no means an expert. I just own a corn snake, and I'm just sharing my experiences with them. Definitely do your own research, and definitely go to more than a few sources. Just make sure you definitely know what you're doing by the time you get your own snake, because they are a long commitment. So corn snakes are a pretty popular beginner recommendation for a snake owner. So typically, if you're going to ask people what your first snake should be, they're going to either say a corn snake or a ball python. That's debatable on which one would be a great beginner. It just kind of depends on what you want. So for corn snakes, they move a lot more, they are more slender, but they move around a lot. So like the fact that she is so calm in my hand right now is not actually like her. She usually is moving around a whole bunch, but she just woke up, so she's still a little bit sluggish. I also wanted to say that I am sorry if I'm looking away from the camera a lot. She moves around a lot, and I just want to make sure I know where she's going so I don't lose track of her and she gets stuck somewhere, because she's done it before. Wild corn snakes are found in the southeastern part of America. In captivity, they will live about 15 to 20 years. So it's a long commitment. So before you get a snake, just make sure you can handle the commitment that it takes. They are not short-lived pets. They usually reach their full length around 2 to 4 years old, and that is typically for an adult corn is about 3 to 5 feet. So not super small, but not huge. So their diet, of course, they eat mice, they eat rodents. So my corn snake is on frozen thawed. You can feed live if you would like. Usually as babies, they'll start out on pinkies and they'll make their way up. So right now, my corn snake, she eats a medium mouse, adult mouse, every week. So like every Saturday. As for their water, you always want to have a water dish in their enclosure, and you also want to make sure that their water is dechlorinated, so you can get ReptiSafe, and you just use the directions, put that in there, and it'll make the water safe for your reptile. So as for temperature, like you want their ambient temperature to be around 75 to 82 degrees during the day. It can, the cool end of the enclosure is around mid-70s. So when you make your enclosure up, you want there to be a cool end and a warm end, so they can regulate their temperatures. So if they're too hot, they can go over to the cool end, and if they're too cold, they can go over to the warm end. As for their heat sources, you can use either a bulb or a heat mat. People will argue differently that whichever one's better. I didn't see much of a difference. She was on a lamp before. It did kind of dry out the enclosure a little faster. I did switch her to a heat mat. I just personally like it more. So she is on a heat mat, and people will say different things on how much of the bottom of the tank the heat mat should cover. I do 1/3. That's just my rule of thumb. Some people say a 4, some people say a half. I do 1/3. So as for the overhead lighting, if you choose to heat it that way, you can use a ceramic heat emitter, or you can also use UVB if you would like. It is not necessary. They are crepuscular, which means they are active around dawn and dusk, so they actually don't need UVB. But some people say that it helps them. In the future, she will be on it. You do want them to have light, however, so even if you go with like under the tank heater like I do, I also have these lamps over here on, and they're on a timer. So they're on for a certain amount of time, so it lets them know like when it's day and when it's night, and kind of, you know, regulates that for them like the sun would. Humidity is also super important for snakes. So you need humidity for snakes for respiratory health and for their shed. So if your snake is like shedding in pieces, it means their humidity probably needs to be boosted up. Clementine has pretty good humidity. I really don't have to do too much with her humidity wise, but you do want it between 40 and 60%. You can do this by having water bowls in there. So like I have a good sized water bowl for her enclosure, and that seems to work for me. In the winter, I have 2 water bowls, just because it gets kind of dry here in the winter. But in the summer, she just needs the one. You can also have a humidity hide for to boost their humidity. So if you're not getting like great results with just the water bowls, you can have a like hide, like a Tupperware container that you cut a hole in, and you just put some damp moss in there. And when they're around their shedding time, which you'll know when they shed because they'll get like blue eye caps, they can go in where it has higher humidity, and you know, their shed should be good then. Just make sure you take it out afterwards, because some snakes will stay in there and that can cause issues like scale rot. So as for their enclosure, I will show you hers in a bit when I go to put her back. But, you know, have fun with their enclosure. So, we'll start out with size. As babies, you can put them in a 10-gallon for a little bit until they become juvenile, and then you can start moving them into a 20. Most people will tell you that a 20-gallon long is their adult, like their minimum adult size terrarium. I personally house her in a 40-gallon breeder. She was in a 20-gallon long whenever I first got her, but it just wasn't, she's just too big for it, I think. She likes to move around a lot. They don't just, you know, sit in the corner. They like to move and explore. Bigger is pretty much better for their enclosure, but I would say 40 gallon is probably as small as I would ever go with a corn snake. Also, make sure that you have locks on your enclosure. Snakes are escape artists, especially corn snakes. They know how to get out. So I have like little clip locks, sort of like this, but bigger on hers, so that she can't get out on her own, because she will. And then you'll have a lost snake, and sometimes you can't find them. So just make sure you have it locked in some manner. There are different locks. You can go online and do your research on like what locks best fit your enclosure and, you know, all of that. So bedding. So for bedding, I have my corn snake on Aspen, and I use that because it is absorbent and it holds their tunnels, because they are definitely burrowing snakes. They love to burrow. They're going to spend most of their time underground, and Aspen just holds those tunnels really well for them. You can also use things like Reptichip, cypress mulch. I've heard people using Eco Earth. Forest floor bedding works great too. I just choose Aspen. I think that she really enjoys it. It's cushiony, it's nice. You can also use paper towel and things like that. I don't recommend it because they will burrow. They will get underneath that. You're not gonna stop them, and then they're just gonna poop all over the glass. So, alright. So as for decor, everyone's favorite part is decor. You need at least 2 hides. So you need one on the cool end of the enclosure and one on the warm end of the enclosure, so that if they're too hot, they can go to their cool hide, etc., etc. You can definitely give them more than 2, but that is the minimum that I would say is definitely 2 hides. And you also need hides that cover all the way around and have an opening, so not like the half logs or anything. Like, you need a full-on hide for them, like a cave. And this can be as simple as you want or as elaborate as you want. It's personal choice on which hide you get, but you have to make sure that they are covered on all ends so that they feel safe. And obviously you have to have at least 1 water bowl. So another thing is, you know, some enrichment. So I have a bunch of fake plants in my enclosures. You don't have to get them from the pet store. All of my fake plants come from the dollar store, and you just want to make sure that they don't have any like points sticking out, or they don't have any metal in them, and that they're safe, and you can sanitize them when, you know, you get home. I can make a separate video on how to sanitize decor on another video if you'd like. I also recommend things for them to climb on, because even though they spend a lot of time in the ground, I have found that corn snakes will also really enjoy things to climb on. So like, they will really utilize the space you give them, and they'll explore every inch of that enclosure. Alright, so I figured I would show you her enclosure really quick. So this is her 40-gallon breeder. I have her cool hide there. Her warm hide is right there. Her heat mat is underneath that, underneath all the aspen. And it is plugged into a thermostat. So, I have a bunch of fake decor, her stick, her water bowl, of course. So that's pretty much it. And since her enclosure is top opening, I have these locks that you put on there so that it keeps it all secure, and she can't lift up on that to get out. Alright, as for hygiene and maintenance, when you have your snake, of course it is a responsibility. You want to do spot cleaning every day, so you want to go in, see if they pooped, just, glance around the enclosure. If they pooped, you want to scoop it out, throw it away. Super easy. You also need to change their water every day, so dump out the old stuff. Maybe wipe it down, because they get some, their saliva makes it kind of slimy. And just give them some new treated water, so that, they can stay healthy, they don't just drink out of the same water every day, even though it will go bad. And I recommend doing full changes once a month. So we just take out all the bedding completely and just put fresh stuff in there every single month, so that they are clean and hygienic and they're not going to get sick. Alright guys, that was pretty much it for my corn snake care guide. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I really hope that it was helpful and informative. Hopefully I'll be putting out 2 videos a week for a while. So if you guys have any ideas for what you would want those to be, whether it's more care guides, or it's education videos on a certain pet that I own, or anything else, just let me know and I'll be happy to do that. I also wanted to say again that I am in no way an expert, and if you are looking into getting your own corn snake, I would definitely look at more than one source. Definitely do your own research, whether that be online forums or books or more videos, but definitely don't take everything I say as true fact, because I am human and I make mistakes. So definitely do your own research and make sure that you know pretty much everything you can about your animal before you get it. Thanks for watching. Bye. She's trying to leave.